What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Connectors Corner. I am your host, Drew Dockery, the Master Connector, or one of the Master Connectors here. And I am a sales and marketing strategist, aka business coach. And we help sales professionals and small business owners not leave money on the table by doing three simple things. Number one is monetizing your relationships. Number two is growing your network. And number three is making the proper connections. So right now, we're mid-series right now. We started a new series, Three Keys to Success. Today, last time we talked about time, right? Timing is everything. Connected to time is consistency. If success of any kind has any kind of rhythm, consistency would create the rhythm of, whatever success you're looking to create. So that's what we're talking about today. Today is talking about consistency, and we are going to deep dive into this subject. So, case in point, I had a quick story for you guys, right? Consistency being the key and rhythm to success. Consistency is the key and rhythm to success, all right? So, a couple years ago, I wrote in my book about recently I wrote in my book about the $1 billion room experience, right? Well, it happened a few years ago, and it was based on the consistent rhythm of constantly getting into new environments, the consistency of getting into new environments. So what I did was I connected with some folks, or young ladies in particular, and she connected me with a whole nother group of individuals who were in business, small business owners, investors, big business owners here in Western New York. I had no clue what this connection was going to do, but the consistency of us constantly connecting and going to different networking events, meeting new people, growing our networks, and being purposeful with it. So whoever we connected to when we were at these events, it was meaningful connections. We weren't just going out passing out business cards and just talking to a bunch of people. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to really get to know people or find out who's in the room that we can actually make some sort of growth movements for our businesses individually, right? So we met a few months prior to this event. The event, I think, the $1 billion room happened in September of that year. So we had met maybe July. And the consistency of us constantly showing up in the same places, going to the same rooms, going to the same business events, we eventually got to a place where we were, I would say, friends to some degree, right? So us being friends now, she's comfortable enough to usher me into some rooms, right? So what happened is she got wind of an event. Now, I talked about this in this other video that we talked about as far as the $1 billion room experience. She got wind of an event, and she was invited to this event where they were going to have a bunch of angel financiers, a few different businesses or companies from this area that lost in a competition locally were able to get involved and present their business opportunity or whatever it is they're doing for business to another group of individuals who could invest and help them grow their businesses, right? So she calls me, I think it was like spur of the moment, the night before the meeting, she called me and said, "Hey, what do you have planned tomorrow morning?" I said, "Nothing, pretty much. I'm just, hanging out. I'll be doing my regular thing as normal." She says to me, "Okay, I got an event that I want to go to, and I would really love for you to come." So I say, "Okay, what is the event about?" She gave me a little synopsis on what they were going to be talking about at this particular event. And I said, "Sure, okay, I'll go." Now, mind you, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go because I think that was one of those days I was kind of resting. I was hanging out with some friends of mine later in the evening that day. I didn't really feel like getting up 8 o'clock in the morning to go to this particular business meeting. I knew what I was going to have to do, getting dressed up, fully suited, suit and tie. As I tell everybody, your first impression is your best impression. So you never get a second chance at your first impression. So I knew what it was going to be going in. I was not prepared mentally for this particular event, but my consistency of constantly doing the same thing over and over again. And it took me from being unconsciously incompetent to an unconscious competence. So I went from unconsciously incompetent to an unconscious competence, meaning I was just doing things out of, my mental makeup at that point, because it was like almost muscle memory. So getting suited at a certain point, getting dressed up, going to an event, meeting a bunch of different people, I thought it was just going to be something regular, mundane activity. Well, it turns out it didn't turn out that way. It wasn't regular, mundane activity. I ended up getting into the room, connected with an investor that I had known from a distance for maybe 2 to 3 years, a real estate investor here. And I was also given the opportunity, amongst some other things, but you got to get the book for that. Go get the book, The Connector's Handbook. It'll help you move and groove in those rooms of greatness, right? But at this event, there was one contact in particular that I had, and it really changed the way I looked at myself as a business person. I forgot the gentleman's name. I can't call his name right now. I'm quite sure he would not want me to call his name right now, but he had a business that was geared towards real estate people, landlords, and some agents, right? And they were going to create, or they did create, a software to where people can pay their rent online. Now, at the time, there were different ways for people to pay their rent, but an online software, banking software, was not really thought up yet. They hadn't come out with it just yet. But what he needed was, he needed a bunch of landlords to decide, okay, I'll take a chance on your software. We can use your software to build our tenants. And he was looking for landlords who had multiple units, people who dealt with multiple tenants. And I mean like into the hundreds. So they were set up to do that. The goal was to do that. And then from every landlord unit, I would be paid a percentage. So if a landlord had, let's say, 1,000 units, right? Or if it was 1,000 units that went into this software, I would be paid about 10% to 15% on each amount that was paid from each unit. So I ended up not taking the position. And the only reason why I didn't take it is because it was going to take more time than I needed, or that I was really willing to allocate for that type of activity to build something of that magnitude. I would basically be the master distributor for this particular company that he was talking about. And I didn't want to do it just simply for the fact that I didn't feel like I had enough skill to do it. So fear being one thing. And the other was that level of responsibility. That's a different level when it comes to you setting up somebody's pay structure for their company. So I would have to make sure that I was going to be consistent in that capacity. And where I was business wise, I wasn't sure that I could fully commit to what he was trying to set up. So after getting the details and what they were going to need me to do, it was going to be about maybe a 12 to 18 month payout of me building and working this particular software, getting it out into the market. Now that would have been fine. The payoff was probably going to net about a $500,000 check, but it would take 18 months to get that money. I didn't really want to wait that long. I had a family. At the time I was married. There was a bunch of other stuff going on, so I couldn't afford to just go ahead and build something like that, working on any kind of passion project and not have regular income coming in. So because of that, I decided not to take the position. But I'm quite sure everything worked out fine with the company. But it all came from being consistent. And that is really what we're talking about today. Your consistency, your ability to create that rhythm in your business, in your career, as a professional, whatever it is, you have to create that rhythm to your success to get the result that you're looking to have. And that's going to produce the results you're looking to have. So yeah, consistency. I talk about it with my training, me training in basketball with Courtified Addicts. I talked about that along the last videos. But yeah, when I train different people in basketball, I really help them understand the rhythm to dribbling, right? So once you learn how to dribble properly and you can have that rhythm to it, now it becomes easy. And I posted a video of my son doing it and it became easy to him. You can see his progression from like the first clip was him being about 14 to 15. And then, well, no, I think he was about 13 or 14, matter of fact. But as time progressed and got to his senior year in high school and now he's college playing age, his rhythm has definitely developed to the point where he's very much so confident and he has that unconscious competence that he has when it comes to that muscle memory to be able to do certain things on the court. So it's all coming from reaction. It's not coming from him pre-planning a move or him pre-planning anything on the court. It's just he does what he feels because he understands the rhythm behind it. So business is set up the exact same way. You have to have a rhythm to how you're going to do your business. What rhythm what rhythm is needed for your business to stay consistent and see consistent growth. And that's what you really have to understand. You really got to really dig deep into your business to understand that. For me, I know my business is going to consist of me going to different events, constantly meeting new people, constantly getting the word out about what I do as a business coach, constantly moving information, creating what I call information flow. It has to be a flow of information. And that is what makes most conglomerate companies or major companies, that makes them great. You look at companies who advertise during the Super Bowl, right? You may see that commercial for the next month or so, however long they run it, but it's going to run continuously. And as you see it, you get more familiar with the product. So that's what that rhythm creates for the audience that you're looking to connect with. So you have to be consistent. Marketing consistently. So how do you market your business consistently and create that flow of information? And there's plenty of different abilities or elements that you can use to market your business, but you really have to figure that out about how that works for you. If you're just in an intellectual property, if you're in digital creating, then yeah, you might need to information flow more consistently about how many videos you're putting out, how many posts you're putting out, how many times do people see you throughout the day on social media. If you're a person who's in sales, which is the folks that I like to talk to, and business owners, how many people are you connecting with on a consistent basis that helps your network grow? The larger your network becomes, the easier it is to flow information through everybody in your network. And now you can create sales because most people aren't going to impulse buy all the time. Now, what you want to do is create a place where they know to come find you. They know where to go get your product from. They know how to get in touch with you if your product is not in a regular brick and mortar place, but they can come find you some way, somehow when they're ready. I'm not one of those guys who buys off impulse. If you're going to get my attention, you're going to have to do it in a way where it's almost like when I'm ready for you, I'll come spend money. The worst thing you can do is to badger your customers to death with your product. You don't want to flood anybody's news feeds. You don't want to flood anybody's inbox. You don't want to flood anybody's text messages. You don't want to constantly call anybody to buy your product, because now what you're tapping into is a place where you're trying to create somebody else's desire for what it is that you offer. That's not how business works. You want business to be easy and simple to where you're attracting people who are for you to you. And that's how I built my business. So sales professionals, you guys definitely want to get out there and network. And I mean network. Don't just throw your business card at people. Don't just drop your business cards off in a bunch of places thinking somebody's going to pick it up. Nobody ever does that. Nobody picks up business cards randomly unless they're actually looking to connect with you to do business on a different level. But that's rare. That is extremely rare. You don't want to bet all that you're trying to create and all your income based on just that one simple, small, minute detail of you just throwing a business card somewhere. Networking is not built that way. Most networks are built because people have a connection. If you read the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about how he ended up having that meeting with Andrew Carnegie, right? They met and he stayed for 3 days. That was not the goal. The goal was to meet with him for a few hours. But because him and Andrew Carnegie had a connection, and it was based on him asking consistent questions about how to build or how he built his business, Andrew Carnegie assigned him to a life purpose work that he eventually created the Think and Grow Rich company and book. And now we enjoy it. A lot of the most rich and wealthy, successful people in the world have written that book, read that book, and they've read it numerous times. So again, consistency is the key. It creates the rhythm to success. And I guarantee you, success has a rhythm. It most certainly has a rhythm. So I hope you guys got something out of this today. We're going to continue with our series. The last part of the series is leverage, right? So we have time first. We have consistency next. Time is the process. Consistency is progress through the process. And now you have your actual work that goes into it, your leverage to be able to create the success or the results that you want to create. So next is leverage. Now, leverage is a little deep too. I think I may have to break leverage down into 3 separate videos, because when it comes to leverage, you're leveraging 3 different elements. You're leveraging people, you're leveraging places, you're leveraging things. But either way it goes, that's how you create a certain level of income when it comes to cutting down on your work. Yeah, it's gonna get deep. It's gonna get real deep. But hopefully you guys got something from this particular conversation. Like, share, comment. Let me know what you think about what we're talking about here with this next series. And I look forward to talking with you all soon. And as I tell you all the time, dream bigger, believe better, and expect greater. I see you soon.